Hi everyone and welcome to the Publishing Performance Show. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Marco Moutinho, who's the founder and the CEO of Dibbly. So thank you for joining the show, Marco.
Thank you, Teddy. I'm very excited to be here and be part of your show.
Great. I mean, I've been looking forward to having you on because Dibbly is a business that I've used quite a lot in my whole writing career, starting with using urban writers for getting some ghostwriting projects when I started out. So it's really great to be able to chat to you.
Nice. And I've been paying attention to your ads platform, and I think what you're doing is amazing, really cool. And I think the publishing community needs a platform like that. Absolutely.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we've seen some great results, so really happy with how it's been going so far. But why don't you tell me a little bit about Dibbly and what it is and how it works?
Yeah, so Dibbly is an extension to the Urban Writers, but more. So as you know, we started off as the Urban Writers, and now we're kind of in a transition phase where we're, rebranding to Dibbly. And it's the main reason why we're doing this is because we do more than just writing. And so the Urban Writers has this thing where it's like all we do is writing, but now we've expanded beyond that. And so we needed a new brand to kind of represent what we do. And that's where Dibbly came in. So with Dibbly, you have, the freelance marketplace platform where you can go in, post your projects, hire freelancers, collaborate, etc., build teams. And now we've recently introduced Dibbly Create, which is it's a cross of like Google Docs and Notion, powered by AI. And also you have access to our freelancer base via that platform. And so we've integrated some really cool AI tools. It's completely collaborative, so you can share, invite anybody you want, have multi-users writing at the same time, etc. So it's a platform we're very excited for, and we've integrated it deeply with the freelancer platform that we have now, which is the Urban Writers.
Amazing. That was going to be one of my first questions. So I've been using Urban Writers, as I mentioned, quite a lot for various different ghostwriting projects, from getting whole books written or even just some of the editing services. So if you are creating work using AI, because Dibbly Create is a way for you to create work yourself, how does it work, but with using a freelancer? How does that partnership work?
Yeah. So essentially, in the past, prior to us creating Dibbly Create, when you set up a project, if it was a written project, like a book, for example, essentially you would have this interface within the Urban Writers platform that you could leave comments and then collaborate with the freelancer on. So what we did is now we shifted that to using Dibbly Create. So when you set up a project with the Urban Writers, you'll get a Dibbly Create project created for it, which you can go in and now read all your content, watch it being created live, leave comments, leave suggestions, and have a deeper collaboration with the freelancers that are working on your project. So it's definitely a much better experience compared to before.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting. So I've been playing around with Dibbly quite a lot, and one of the tools which I found was the most useful was the research tool, because it helps you to do the research both on Amazon, but also using YouTube, Google. I think there's any others, but those are the main ones. And you can see like what's going on that's a bit more trending. It's not just a case of looking on Amazon, seeing what's there at the moment. It's a case of trying to find that point of difference, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you bring up a great point. So the research tool was designed to get live, like real feedback on your competitors. So for example, let's look at Amazon, the research tool for Amazon. You're going in, and we don't just gather it from Amazon. We're gathering it from Google reviews. We're connecting to Goodreads, and we're pulling reviews from there. So essentially, you're looking at your competitors and what customers are saying about those competitors, and what Kip is doing, which is our AI assistant, integrated assistant. Kip is creating an analysis for you to determine what your content should have based on real customer feedback. Right. So if a customer is like, oh, this book is missing this particular information, you're going to get that analysis. And you're like, you know what? I need to include that in my book. So it's a great way to figure out what does the audience actually want to read? What are they enjoying already? But what's the missing piece? And that way you can ensure that you're including that in the content. It's a phenomenal tool. Phenomenal.
Yeah. I think research is actually one of my favorite ways to use AI, like in total, because obviously it's amazing to get writing and help with that side of it, but the research, that can take ages and ages. And so as long as you're making sure the research you're doing is good and it is accurate, I think it can save you so much time, because you can, as you mentioned, look at your competitors, see what they're doing, look at other trends in the market, and put it all in one place and start selecting the right parts.
Yeah. So let's look at this, for example, the in-depth search analysis, which takes a single book. So you pass in an ASIN or an ISBN number, and it'll take in a single book. What that is doing is collecting 500 reviews, 100 reviews from each star rating, and it's analyzing all those reviews and then giving you an analysis report. Imagine you had to do that on your own, right?
Yeah.
You'd have to go in, start collecting 100 reviews for each star rating. Then you got to assess, recognize patterns, put that data together. Like, that can easily take days.
Yeah.
Right. And you're getting this done within a minute, if that.
Yeah.
So it's insane how powerful AI is right now. And to your case with research, yeah, it's phenomenal. Yeah.
What does the output look like from that research? So do you get a report, or can you select what sort of research you want to be doing from those different tools?
Yes. So there are a few options. So we have our standard template that it spits out, which is like strengths of the competitor, weaknesses of the competitor from analyzing the reviews, and then certain insights. And at the very end, we also give you competitive analysis of how to stand out. So like, this is what you should be including in your book based off customer feedback. But we also allow you to ask up to, I think, 3 or 4 questions when you run the analysis, and those questions could be whatever you want, right? And, we have some suggestions in there, but really you can ask whatever you want, and Kip will gather and analyze based on that information. So there is this custom question asking component as well.
Yeah. So once you've done that research, why don't you walk us through exactly how Create can help you to create that whole book? What does that process look like?
Yeah. So essentially, we built Create specifically for books. Now you can use it for any other type of content, but the flow that we set up, is to create high quality books. And essentially, like we just discussed, we start at the research phase. Once that research is done, you want to take that research, refine it, and you want to pass it into our outline tool. And what our outline tool does is it does a few things. There's a few options when you're generating an outline, but essentially, in terms of the nonfiction version, let's say we're discussing nonfiction with the research, what it's going to do is that information that you passed in, it's going to generate an outline for you, but also it's going to go out and find source material on the internet for you that you can use for every chapter that you write. So now you have not only this is what your chapter should contain, but also a list of sources that you can use to get that material and reference. But we also talk about, in the outline, we talk about, who your target market should be, how the book should be written, some questions that your book should answer, right? These are deep questions that the readers maybe want answers to. So we have a lot of output there. Now it's quite elaborate, so it's kind of hard to go without a visual. But Kip is doing research on the internet for you in the background to collect sources that you can use. And then once you have the outline, we've created a tool called Content Writer, and it was designed specifically to work with the outline. So once you have the outline, Content Writer right now supports nonfiction and fiction. The fiction version is in beta, but we also have something called sample writing. So we have a combination of writing styles and tones that you can choose, and you can create samples to see how Kip's going to output that content before you go and you write the final chapter. So you can kind of get a sense of how it's going to read, how it's going to sound, and you can keep playing with those combos until you get an output that you enjoy, whether it's for your audience or for you personally. And then you can start generating those chapters. So we've really built the entire flow for that. And the cool thing is, once your book is ready, you've written all the chapters, you can actually go into Kip Chat, which is a chat version of Kip, similar to ChatGPT, and you can ask Kip for freelancer recommendations based off a niche, based off a position, whether they're a writer, an editor, a narrator, etc. And there's some other inputs that you can pass in. But then what Kip does is Kip's going to connect to our database of freelancers and Kip's going to give you suggestions. You can even ask, I want someone who's online right now, has no available projects, or is ready to take on a project right now. And Kip will give you that output with those freelancers.
That's really interesting.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's really clever. So it can, if you're really rushing for time, you could say, okay, I need someone right now. Let's find someone who can come in and do it.
Yeah, exactly.
How does it differ between using just basic AI, like something like ChatGPT, to using a platform like Dibbly where it's all integrated? What's the different output look like?
So the biggest difference, especially with the tools, in terms of Chat Kip, there's not that big of a difference, other than, being able to connect to freelancers and pulling that data, etc. But in terms of the tools, there's a lot of background processing that's happening, that's following best practices that we've created internally. So there's a lot of almost magic happening in the background that would take a ton of effort to accomplish using a chat interface like ChatGPT or some of the others like Gemini or Claude. So we've built it in a way that's highly specific to that use case, right? Outline, content writer, and there's a lot of background things happening that you don't see, and it's doing a lot for you, right? Like I said, it's connecting to the internet, it's pulling the sources, it's creating that seamless experience in terms of the outline flow from intro to conclusion. So there's a lot happening, and again, it's very different from ChatGPT. But if we're just comparing the chat interface to ChatGPT, very similar.
Yeah, so it's just easy to use.
Things.
Yeah. Does it work with, or how does it handle different types of books? So, for example, fiction, nonfiction, and also I'd like to look at low content books as well, because loads of people ask me about that. So how does it work with those different genres?
Great question. So we do use different strategies for each book, of course. If you compare our outline output for a nonfiction versus a fiction, it's drastically different, right? The fiction version, we're listing out characters, we're listing out plots, we're listing out environments, locations, etc. We're building that story. The nonfiction, we're giving you, who your target audience is, your readers, your questions, and the source materials. So it's drastically different, and even for in terms of producing it through Content Writer, you're going to see the fiction version is more story driven, right? It has a natural telling a story, but again, you kind of can dictate that through the tone and writing style that you choose. But yeah, we've created different solutions for the different types of content. Now, when it comes to low content, you can't actually generate low content material with those tools, as it's not designed for yet. But this is something that we're looking at right now, how to integrate low content, whether it's workbooks, coloring books, journals, etc. So we're looking at how we can integrate that into Create, because the mission for Create is really to come in and be able to create any type of content. It's not just for books. It's not just for nonfiction, high content books or fiction. It's really for any type of content. And so that's our mission, and that's what we're working towards. But the low content stuff we are looking into right now, and we do have some solutions that we're going to be building.
Yeah, nice. If you've already got books which you've got written, are you able to use those as part of the research process to get like the tone and get the way you write, and to try and replicate that a bit more?
So we're playing around with that. So to answer your first question, yes. So we have a summarizer tool that can consume your entire book and give you an output. And then again, you can ask custom questions in there. So, give me the writing style, etc. And you can get certain pieces out of it. So yeah, there's a way to extract information from your books. Mm-hmm. But in terms of, here's 3 paragraphs, match this writing style, we're playing with that right now, actually. And our AI engineers have found a few solutions that work really, really well. So we're doing a lot of testing in the background, and as soon as it's ready, that's going to be another option. So you'll be able to either choose that writing and tone combo, or you'll be able to pass in your own paragraph or, 3 or 4 paragraphs, and then Kip will try to match that style.
Yeah, that'd be amazing, because I've already written quite a few books. So if I could just say, oh, here's some of the stuff I've written, can you just try and match my language? That'd be amazing to try and get that tone in.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. And that's why we're working on that right now. Yeah.
Now with the different, one of the other parts is the interior book designer. So it creates it into a different format. Does that work with the paperback and the EPUB?
Yes. So right now, our export feature for interior book design does support ebook and paperback. So for ebook, you get an EPUB file, and for the paperback, you get a PDF, and it's completely customizable. We're working on a more enhanced version now. It probably won't be out until like the summer, but yeah, again, it's all about being able to create any type of content, and we want you to be able to go from an idea all the way to publish ready within Dibbly Create.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So one of my last questions was, when you've been using it, how long has it taken you to go from an idea to getting that final book ready? How long does that usual process take?
This is a great question. I actually wrote a book, I think it was last summer. It's called the AI Book Method. It's free, by the way. Anybody can get access to it. And I walk you through the entire process from ideation, research, outline, etc., all the way to publish ready file. And you can get this done within 24 hours, assuming you already have an idea for a book. Now, of course, if you're trying to figure it out, that can take some time. But if you have an idea and you're ready to start building, I've built a process where you can get it done in 24 hours. And this also includes an entire chapter on how to self-edit to get that AI. Because AI is getting better, but the content it produces, there's still some scenarios where you're like, I can tell this is AI. And so we show you within that book how to get rid of that, what to look for, how to revise, etc. So that entire process, you can get that done within 24 hours if you're dedicated. Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Have you managed to get any books done in 24 hours yourself?
So when I wrote that book, I went through the process myself. Yeah.
I went through the process.
So I documented it. Yeah, I documented it, and I made sure, because I'm not going to make a claim that I couldn't, get it done myself. So my goal for that book is, okay, this is the process I have. I'm going to document it, and even at the end of every chapter, I let the user know, okay, this is how many hours it took me to run through this chapter. These are how many tokens I've used, etc. So it's documented in there. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. How does it work with the pricing for Dibbly?
So right now, Dibbly Create's actually free, unless you want the Kip features. If you want the exclusive Kip tools, you have to subscribe to the Pro version, which starts at $23 a month. Otherwise, it's absolutely free. You can invite other people. You can share your documents. You can create your books via the platform at no charge. But if you do want access to the full feature-rich version of Kip, you do have to subscribe to Pro. In terms of the free version, we only give you access to Kip Chat. And then I think there's a few features like the prompt library we give you access to. And if you're highlighting text and you want Kip to work on it, we give you access to that. But if you want access to like the research tools, the outline, content writer, summarizer, etc., then you do have to have access to the Pro version. Yeah.
Great. Now, obviously, it's relatively easy to get these books written. So the difficult part, I guess, is to make sure that your book is going to be good. So what advice would you give to people, especially if they're just starting out using Dibbly, to make the most out of the features to ensure their book is not just like the same as everyone else's book that's out there, but is actually good and a bit different?
Yeah. Okay. So I would recommend definitely have an editor review. At the very minimum, after your book is done, my recommendation, even though we show your process of how to do it yourself, get a second pair of eyes, get it reviewed by a professional, and let them give you some real insight. Preferably, you would do it with an editor who has experience in whatever topic you're writing about. That would be the preferable way to go. But any editor would help dramatically, especially catching some of the facts, right? Because if you're working on a nonfiction book, there's a lot of, generally speaking, there's a lot of factual information that goes into it. And which reminds me, we've actually built a fact checker with Kip. So you can highlight, let's say, a paragraph. You'll highlight that paragraph. You'll choose Kip, and you'll be like you'll hit the fact checker option. And what Kip does is it goes onto the internet, does research for you, and either returns sources that proves or disproves that content. So that's a great way and a very fast way to determine if something in your content is actually true or not. But having a professional in there reviewing, I think that's vital, especially nowadays because AI makes it so easy. You don't want to just be pumping AI content.
No. You
want to stand out. You want to make sure for me, I think building a brand now becomes more important than it's ever been because of the amount of AI generated books that are being pushed. And you want to start building that brand. You want to start building that trust with those readers, right? So that when they see your next book and they see it's your brand, they're more likely to buy from you because they trust you. They trust the content that you're putting out there. So, but if you're not paying attention to that quality, that trust is gone. So I think that's important. I think, yes, AI is amazing, but you still need a human in there to review, whether that's yourself and you're very meticulous about it, or you're having a professional. I think that's a vital part before you put any content out there.
Yeah, definitely. One of the mistakes I see a lot of people make when I do coaching is that, especially if they're creating with AI, or even if they're creating an outline to go to a ghostwriter, they miss out some information which gives the ghostwriter or the AI some really good help into the way they want that book written. Like, for example, getting that tone in there and understanding the way you want that message to be passed across, and saying things like, do you want it to be informative? Do you want it to be funny? Or like those sort of things are quite important, I think, and people miss out putting them in. And then they're like, oh, why is my manuscript so boring?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. It's all about when you're producing that content, you got to think about who's the reader, right? And make sure that it's tailored and it has that voice and that sound and that tone that's tailored to that reader. That's actually a very good point. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think maybe with the tool, I think maybe it's almost more important now to spend more time on the outline to make sure that is like really spot on, because if you're not going to be able to speak to someone in the same way. It's more like, here you go, let's go and make this work.
Yeah, actually, that's a very valid point, because that is something that we've realized as well, which is one of the reasons why in that book that I wrote, I give you an outline template. So it's a template for your outline that you have to fill out, and it shows all the different Kip tools that you can use to get that content, because the end result when you're generating, for example, a chapter, let's say, that chapter is going to be either poorly done or well executed based off the outline that you feed it. And your point is valid. I think majority of the work is on the research and outline component. Yeah, I think those are the two most important phases.
Definitely,
in this process. Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely. I think it becomes even more important now when you really are just trying to hand it off a bit more to the AI, that you're making sure that research is good, because if it's not, you're going to get something quite generic back, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's plans for the future of Dibbly? Because obviously AI is changing quite a lot. So have you got any plans for future features that are going to be completely different to everyone else?
Yes, I can't really discuss.
Oh, it's a secret.
Some of them. Yeah.
I thought we were going to have an exclusive on the show.
We do have some cool things. One thing I can tell you, which we're hoping to launch in February, is kind of the whole process I just explained now. We're actually building a tool that's more like a step-by-step. Right. So instead of I'm going to go into the research tool. I'm going to gather all this research. Here are all my competitors, etc. YouTube, Google. Got all the content, formalize it. Now I'm going to pass it into Outline. So we're taking the thought process away. So it's one tool. Hey, I want to create a new project and I want Kip to help me. And now it's literally a step-by-step system. Step 1, research. Kip collects it for you. You pass in the books, etc. You hit next. Kip's going to formalize, create everything for you, and give the best output for the outline for you. It's going to do everything for you. So that is coming soon. And that's the target right now is February. Hopefully no delays. But when it comes to software, there's no guarantee.
Always delays.
Yeah. But we're very, very close. So that is something I can mention. Other than that, we are focused on making Kip even more powerful. That's all I can say.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that.
Yeah.
So if people want to get in touch, we've got the link to go and join Dibbly in the show notes, but where's the best place to go and find them if people are just listening?
The best place, Dibbly.com, and everything is there for you, right? You want to get in touch with the sales rep. You want to get in touch with support. You want to get in touch with an expert. Everything is there for them. You want to get access to Create. We just launched Kip Scout. If you're not aware, it's a Chrome extension that helps you find profitable keywords. And we are about to launch Marketplace, which is an exclusive pre-written content hub. So you come in and we have books ready for sale, completely unique.
Cool. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to, I think this has been amazing to talk about all of what Dibbly's doing, but I think I'm going to have to just get a demo for the YouTube so we can see what's going on, because it feels like a lot of this stuff is going to be way better to just show rather than tell people.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot. Absolutely.
Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on. It's been great to chat about AI and what's happening with Dibbly. I'm really looking forward to really getting stuck in and using it properly. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Teddy. It's been a pleasure.
We'll speak soon.
All right, bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance podcast. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, let me tell you about Publishing Performance, the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales, but I'm not really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books. And if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximize your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns, to choose your best keywords, and to make adjustments in real time. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure that your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. Just go to publishingperformance.com to get started with Amazon ads for just $1. Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance podcast. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, let me tell you about Publishing Performance, the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales, but I'm not really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books. And if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximize your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns, to choose your best keywords, and to make adjustments in real time. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure that your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. Just go to publishingperformance.com to get started with Amazon ads for just $1.